Imagine you're standing in a crowded cafe, your toddler tugging at your sleeve, your wallet almost empty, and your mind racing about tonight's rent. Now picture a man in a crisp, tailored suit walking straight towards you, the kind of man who looks like he owns half the city, his sharp eyes fixed on you as if you're the only person in the room. He sits down, places a piece of paper on the table, and says, "I'll double your pay if you can translate this." That's exactly where Daniel's life changed forever. And before you hear what happened next, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because stories like this might just remind you that hope can come from the most unexpected places. Daniel had been a single dad for 3 years, ever since his wife passed away from a sudden illness. He worked 2 jobs, delivering packages during the day and cleaning offices at night. His daughter, Lily, was only 5, full of questions he didn't always have the energy to answer, but her laughter was the only thing that kept him going. That morning had been particularly hard. His boss at the delivery company had cut his hours, and he didn't know how he'd pay the electric bill. He had stopped by a cafe to get Lily a small hot chocolate as a treat, something to make up for the long hours she spent waiting for him in the neighbor's care. That's when a stranger's shadow fell over his table. The man introduced himself as Adrian Cole, CEO of a multinational tech company. Daniel blinked. What was a billionaire doing in a quiet corner cafe like this? Adrian slid a piece of paper across the table. On it were lines of text in an old, foreign script Daniel recognized instantly. See, what Adrian didn't know was that before life turned upside down, Daniel had been a translator for historical texts. He had studied languages, including rare ones most people had never even heard of. But after his wife's death, he'd left that world behind for any job that could pay faster. Adrian's voice was calm but urgent. "I'll double your pay if you can translate this tonight." Daniel hesitated. Double his pay? But he didn't even have a pay from Adrian, this was a stranger. "What's this about?" Daniel asked. Adrian's jaw tightened. "It's personal." The paper was part of an old letter written by Adrian's late mother, who had been from a small Eastern European village. She had hidden something important in her will, but the family couldn't read her native language. Adrian had tried dozens of translators, but each failed to capture the meaning, saying the words were too archaic. Daniel took a deep breath and started working. As his pen moved, the cafe around him faded away. He felt the old spark, the joy of solving linguistic puzzles. But as he read the words, his own eyes grew wet. The letter wasn't about money or property, it was about love, sacrifice, and a message to her son to find the one who speaks the language of the heart, not just the tongue. She described a story of her own struggles as a single parent, the same struggles Daniel knew all too well. When Daniel finished, Adrian was silent for a long moment. Then he said, "You didn't just translate the words, you understood them." He wired not double, but triple the amount he promised to Daniel's bank account. But that wasn't all. He offered Daniel a permanent job in his company as a cultural and linguistic consultant, a position that paid more than Daniel had ever earned in his life. Over the next months, Daniel's life transformed. He could afford a safe home for Lily, spend real time with her, and return to the work he loved. And Adrian? He found in Daniel not just an employee, but a friend who reminded him that business wasn't only about profit, it was about connection. The story didn't end with money or success. The true reward was something deeper, 2 men, from very different worlds, brought together by a mother's words and a shared understanding of what it means to fight for someone you love. So next time life corners you in a cafe with nothing but a little hope left, remember, sometimes the smallest moments lead to the biggest changes. And if this story touched you, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need a reminder that miracles still happen in the most unexpected ways. Daniel stared at the paper again, tracing each letter with his eyes as if it were a fragile piece of history. Lily sat across from him in the cafe booth, swinging her legs and sipping her hot chocolate. She whispered, "Daddy, is that homework?" He smiled faintly. "Something like that, sweetheart." Adrian leaned forward, his elbows on the table. "You understand it, don't you?" His voice was sharp, but not unkind, more like a man who had been searching for an answer for far too long. Daniel hesitated. "I think I do. But these words aren't just straightforward. They're layered. The meanings shift depending on the context. That's exactly what every other translator said before giving up, Adrian replied, his tone a mix of frustration and desperation. But you're still reading. I'm still reading because I think, this was written by someone who didn't just want to pass on information, Daniel said quietly. They wanted to leave a piece of themselves behind. Adrian's eyes narrowed, studying Daniel as if he were trying to decide whether to trust him. Can you finish it tonight? Daniel looked at Lily. She had chocolate foam on her upper lip and was smiling at him without a clue about the heaviness hanging over the table. If I bring it home, I can work on it after I put her to bed, he said. Adrian reached into his inside jacket pocket and slid a sleek black card onto the table. Call me when it's done. No matter what time. He stood, adjusted his tie, and left without another word. That night, after Lily drifted to sleep, Daniel sat at the small kitchen table,